Good afternoon. Hey, what's going on? I guess I should have did this before the video. No? Better? Whatever. I have had so much happening in my thoughts today. Normally, it is a very cluttered and busy mess in my head, but I don't know. Maybe that day at the beach yesterday did me some good because everything just makes so much sense now. And I feel inspired. I really, really do. All morning I've been writing down different things, just getting stuff out of my head and on paper. So one of the things that I definitely wanted to talk about right now, well, there was two things specifically that stood out, but one of them is how in my energy field, I feel there is a whole bunch of people who are empaths. I've been saying this for a while, and I don't know, honestly, if you don't know what an empath is by now, you can jump on Google real quick and do a quick search, type it in, you'll get all the answers you need from that. But roughly, an empath is someone who is able to absorb energy from other people. And I felt that it was definitely necessary to go into deeper detail about energy, because I think that a lot of people are aware of it, but not really to the degree where they're helping it, using it to help them heal themselves or help themselves, change themselves, build themselves up. All of that is energy. Energy never dies, it never goes away. It can only be transmuted. So it can either be turned from negative to positive or positive to negative, but it does not go anywhere. So all of that energy that you have suffered from, painful energy, trauma, anger, guilt, addiction, obsession, there's a lot, to say the least. There's a whole lot of different ways that you could have negative energy just built up. Resentment, that's a huge one. That's resentment is probably one of the most dangerous ones, because people don't see resentment. You don't really see resentment in a physical form. It's usually something that's inside, and it makes people act out in different ways. So you see the actions, but you don't necessarily see resentment as being the reason for it. So that's why it's projection. Projection is another one that's very dangerous. Not so much for you, the individual, but for anybody who you come in contact with, which is even more dangerous, because whatever ideals you are spewing from the lenses that you are wearing, with all the pain and the trauma and the anger and all of that stuff behind them, when you're operating from that energy without even realizing it, you're projecting all of your negative energy onto other people, and you don't even know that it's happening. So with all of that, you can either transmute it from negative to positive or positive to negative. And I don't think that people really grasp how important that is to communication, to relationships, to just overall how we deal with one another. I definitely feel that there is a very, very heavy, the clouds look so beautiful. Let me leave these clouds alone. And look in front of my car before I have an accident. Sitting up here looking at the clouds. Now I go look at the clouds. So more or less the idea that I wanted to kind of clear up is that, well, I've been getting into tarot. Since quarantine started, I have been pretty heavily interested in tarot cards and tarot oracle readings and stuff like that. Not that I've gotten any, because I did have one done by a family member last year sometime, but I don't get them, like I don't really feel, and this is not really for anybody else, this is just me personally, because I kind of feel like I have an intuitive gift of my own. I don't really want to pay somebody else to tell me what I already know, but I don't have a problem with somebody giving me confirmation for free. That's different. But I haven't paid for any readings, is what I'm getting at. But I've been so heavily interested in it because I found that with tarot cards, I can get a visual understanding of what it is that I feel inside, what I feel in other people's energy. And before, being an empath, knowing that I can read people's energy, I would just have all these feelings, all these literal feelings in my body, and I didn't know what they meant. So at one point, I was really struggling to pinpoint what this sensation means or what that sensation means. And it's a lot. So somehow I was led to tarot. And I felt that it's amazing with understanding the different types of energies that we deal with on a regular basis. Not just from ourselves, but from the people we come in contact with. So the thing that was really heavily pointed out to me, because I mentioned in a live that I did yesterday that I've been feeling a lot of manipulation in my energy lately, meaning manipulation from people around me in my energy field. And that's a pretty, it's an expansive field. So it's not just people that are immediately in my energy, but I mean just in general, because I'm an empath. When I go out in public and I, talk to strangers and whatever, I feel things from them. So I just have this very heavy presence of manipulation going on. And so the thing that I was thinking this morning is that there's a lot of people who are empathic, who are manipulators, and they do not realize it, because they don't understand that when you are, and this is a tarot reference, there's a magician energy. That's a person who can manifest, a person who is powerful, who can bring things into them, that can draw things into them just by speaking life, just by speaking out loud, just saying what their true intention is. They can make things happen for them. But there is a shadow side to being a magician, and that is manipulation, or being a manipulator. Because a person who has that mind and power capacity to be able to make things happen can also manipulate their way into making things happen. And that happens very, very often. Very, very often. Now, the problem with this is, God responds to, your heart. God responds to your soul. God doesn't respond to your earthly desires. God doesn't respond to your desire for material things. Abundance and material things, those things come to you when you do the work. So you can manipulate your way into getting anything that you want if you can do it. And if you try hard enough, you can manipulate your way into any situation that you want. But you have to understand that karma is absolutely real. And guess what? Karma it's not only limited to you as an individual. Karma can play out with your children as well. And your children could be your karma. If you have done something that you need atonement for, you could have to face that karma with situations with your family around you. So you have to be very careful with what you say and how you say it. And it's not just saying it that makes the difference. It's what you really, really mean. It's what you really feel and what you really mean deep down that you manifest, whether you say it or not. So there's a lot of situations where I've witnessed very successful people, successful financially, meaning they have their lives together. They have money, not that they're rich necessarily, but they have their lives together. They don't really want for anything. They live comfortably, right? But there's just something in their spirit that they cannot seem to treat people correctly, whatever that reason is. And it's not even that they go around just necessarily speaking meanly to people, because you can be a saint on the surface. You know what I mean? You can be a saint on the surface and nobody would know the difference. But how you really, what your heart really is saying and what your true intentions are when you do certain things, when you say certain things, that's what God responds to. That's what the universe responds to. That's what is seen. That's what you reap. So it's sad. I don't want to say it's sad because everybody has their journey. It does make me sad sometimes because I can truly feel the potential of so many people. And I can see the power in so many people around me. So many people. I can see their light, I can feel their light, and I just know that it's there. But it's not my job to go around trying to tell people that they are something that they never believe that they are. And until we all learn the lesson that the way that you treat yourself and the way that you love yourself is going to make all the difference between what you manifest, we're going to keep manifesting another tarot reference, which is tower moments. And tower moments is when God is like, yeah, no, and just drops towers on your life, drops different scenarios, different lessons, stuff like that. And if you're not able to see those things, if you're not willing to see those things, then you're gonna continue a cycle of those same exact things happening over and over and over and over and over. And the truth of the matter is there's a lot of people who have a path and purpose, and they have a mission, they have a duty, they have a job to do on earth to help uplift humanity, to help be the change that the world needs. There's a whole lot of people who have this potential, but because they cannot separate themselves from the conditioning that the world has placed us all under, some people stay stuck in that cycle of not learning their lessons their entire life. They just keep repeating the same cycles over and over, and they never see it. That's the woman who, this is examples, just the woman who can't understand why certain men keep on hitting on her. She can't, for the life of her, she cannot understand why she keeps attracting the same trash men. That's because there's something that you're putting out. You're omitting some type of energy that is drawing them in. And I can tell you this not from a place of judgment. I can tell you this from a place of experience, multiple experiences, because it was a cycle that I went through for several years out of my life where I felt like I was the victim. And I was always being approached by guys who wanted nothing good for me, wanted nothing from me but sex, and I could not figure out what it was in my energy that, drew them in. And even though some of the things that I was being faced with was really harsh and sometimes physically aggressive and physically, I've been sexually assaulted multiple times, and it was a cycle that, because of my feeling as though I had an incident when I was younger where I was molested, but me feeling as though these people are bad and doing these things to me kept me in a victim mentality that almost omitted an energy. I think omitted is the word. Is omitted the word? Well, let me change it. It made me put out an energy that attracted guys that were looking for somebody who was too weak to actually stand up for themselves and stuff like that. Manipulators. That's an energy. So if you're giving off that energy that you're accepting of the behavior, whether you know that you're doing it or not, you still have to take responsibility for your side of it. There is never a situation where one person is wrong. No, let me not say that. That's not true. When you're dealing with relationships with other people, for the most part, there is a such thing as a victim mentality. And if you operate from a victim mentality, then you're going to continue to feel victimized. And you're always going to feel as though, you're a victim. So you're going to attract people who are going to victimize you. That's just the way that it goes. And it's really, really, it's not funny. And I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I laugh when things just make sense, or I just have moments like that. But we all have to understand that there is a huge responsibility for the energy that we are putting out. I'll give you an example. There was a post that I saw that I was, that I commented on. There was a post where a woman gave wifely duties to a guy that she was dealing with. He states that he didn't want to be in a serious relationship. However, he states with his mouth that he doesn't want to have a relationship, but he continued to allow her to do nice things to and for him. Cook for him, sexual favors, the whatever, whatever the case may be. So then when she asked him to define the relationship, he basically started out saying, when she asked who you are to me, he started out saying, you're my girl. And then when she asked him for a clearer definition, he basically just went off on her, and he just destroyed her. He destroyed her emotionally, destroyed her. I was so shocked because most people were in agreement that it was her fault for doing those things for him. But my question is this: at what point do we condone destroying someone emotionally for doing something nice for you emotionally? If someone is loving you, showing you love, doing positive things for you, when do we decide that it's okay for a person to verbally destroy another person emotionally just because they ask you a question? They want a further explanation or some type of definitive answer instead of the games, and you go ahead and just verbally and emotionally destroy this person. And that's okay. We have to stop. We have to stop accepting this bad behavior just because we're not willing to face our own views on it, whatever those views may be. I mean, that's just my very question, is how, if you're a person who knows how to love another person, if you know what love is and what love feels like, there's no way that you can sit here and expect me to be okay with you destroying another person just because they found out your games. That's not acceptable in any way. I'm sorry. There's no empathy whatsoever in that. I don't know. It blows my mind. It blows my mind. And what's even more, mind-blowing to me is that it's women who stand up for men who do this. What is it in us? What is it in us that will agree with anything a man says just because it comes out of their mouth? It's got to stop. It really does. It has to stop. And we have to start loving ourselves more. We have to start loving ourselves enough to put an end to the emotional manipulation that is happening in relationships. We have to put an end to the emotional manipulation and the lack of emotional intelligence that's happening. We really do. Like, that's just the bottom line. We really do. And I find that communication, whether it be in a relationship capacity or in a familial capacity, just communicating with people, humans, just general communication between humans is really, it needs a revamp. It needs a huge revamp. Especially, I feel like in this area, there is so much toxic energy here because people are just not happy. Nobody is happy because it's hard to live. It's hard to survive here financially. You know what I mean? And people are just miserable. They're forced to stay in situations they don't want to stay in because they're too afraid of what will happen. And I'm speaking from experience. This is not me listening and seeing other people's lives and making this judgment. That is not what this is about. This is me speaking from a place of having been in the shoes and learning from it, healing from it, growing from it. And I just, it's, let me get inside. I gotta go to work. All right. That's it. I gotta go to work, but that's just a little bit of it. I'll see you guys in the next video.